right, we're back with another edition of the Leo G Show, man. We are here with everybody tonight. We're gonna have a real good show tonight, man. So before we get this thing started off right, we got a few things we want to talk about. But before we get into all of that, I gotta kick it over to the people that help hold this thing down. So I'm gonna kick it over first to my man out there on the east. Derek Cole, what's going on with your brother, man?
What's going on, Leo G? What's going on, Banks? It's a
Hey man,
fantabulous Friday.
Friday, yes sir. We are doing it live right now, streaming live on YouTube, streaming live on Facebook. We like to, just let everybody know, hey man, you can interact with us and join us at any time tonight as we get into this discussion. So I'm gonna kick it over to my man on the south side, man. Without further ado, my man Banks, what's going on, my brother?
Leo G, how you feeling? Derico, how you feeling, brother?
Everything is kosher, copacetic.
Copacetic and kosher. That's what's up, man. It's gonna be a good show tonight, man. I can feel it in my bones. Got a lot to talk about, man. We didn't get a chance to really dig into this right after the fact, but I feel like we're gonna get into it tonight and get down to it. So before we go any further, Derico, yes, sir.
Did you say something about you feel it in your bones? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I do.
You forgot a word.
What word did I forget, sir? Old bones. Yeah, I feel it in these old bones. It is what it is. We do what we do, but I feel it. Like I said, it's gonna be a good show. We're gonna get into it, man. We're not gonna let time predicate what we do tonight, man, because we're just gonna do what we do and do it how we feel, and just talk about it. But I'm pretty sure we get it all out. So before we start this thing off right, you know how we like to do it. We're gonna do the fit check, drink check, man. I'm gonna pass it over to my man over there on the south side, Banks. Let everybody know what you got on and what you're drinking on tonight.
Hey, just nothing big, y'all, man. Just got on a plain old State of the Falcons shirt, and I'm rocking the kind of the I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's some gold Bacardi Gold rum, and I'm chasing it down with what they say down in South, Coca-Cola. That's what I'm drinking it with. So cheers, brothers.
All right, man. Cheers to you, man, on a Friday night. All right, man. Pass it over to my boy Derek Cole over there on the east side, man. Let everybody know what you got going on, man. What you're drinking on, man, and what you got on, brother.
Hey man, I am coach casual today since it's Friday. I didn't have a chance when I got back from getting this fresh fade to put on there. So I'm rocking the coach's polo. And I'm drinking my cold Heineken today. Last episode it was Red Stripe, so I pushed it back a notch and went to the Heineken. And I want to show y'all something that I picked up when I went on my bourbon tour last week on last Sunday from Blue Ridge Mountain, baby, in Georgia, Dillard, Georgia. Let me tell you something. I'm usually not drinking this stuff, but it tastes good. But it's for the guests. So y'all come over here and get some of this Blue Ridge Mountain Blackberry bourbon because you can't find the Crown Blackberry no more. So you come over here and get some of this Blue Ridge Mountain Blackberry. And that's a plug for RM Rose Distillery. RM Rose Distillery in Dillard, Georgia. And their regular bourbon is fire. So when they bring it over there to Turtle Creek, then I'm going to let you try it out, my brother.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to Derico on his Bourbon Trail Adventures, man. Got some blackberry and over there doing the big on a Friday night, man. That's what's up, man. So, your boy Leo G, man, I am like Derico, man. I'm coach's casual today, man. I got my Falcons hat. Y'all see it, man. My through the years, my Legends hat, man, and my coach's polo, man, because it's Friday. I didn't feel like, pulling anything out too heavy out the closet. So, it is what it is. Fellas, Friday, tomorrow is Atlanta United. Fellas, I'm going to be in the building. Derico, man, I'm going to be in the building for this Atlanta United game tomorrow night. How about you? Derico, you
That
still
is
with
a
us?
plan. That is a plan. Yeah, that's a plan. Good sir. That I will be there. I got tickets, so either somebody gonna get blessed or somebody gonna lose some money on some tickets. But my absolute positively will be, if the Lord's will, be in the house tomorrow in the Benz with
I plan
with the
on being
roof
a Mercedes
closed.
Benz tomorrow with the roof. Well, yeah, it's gonna probably be a little weather going on, man. But I plan on being in the building tomorrow night at MBS for Atlanta United as we take on Minnesota United, man. A must-win situation going on over there in Mercedes Benz with that soccer team over there, man. So it's supposed to be a good time. Banks, are you gonna join your brothers tomorrow at MBS?
I'm gonna try to hell to high water, fellas. I'm trying as we speak to look for tickets to be in the building.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So listen, before we get off into the show, another thing we got going on as well, as you all know, for our followers and our listeners that have been, rocking with us for a while, we are in the middle of trying to rebrand this thing, man, and doing something really, really big with the show. We are looking for a new
Hey, that's a
title.
shot. You're gonna take a shot. You're gonna take a shot today. I'm sorry. I let you pass the last episode, but you ain't
I
gonna keep
said
saying
really, really
really.
quickly. I said really, really
Yeah,
quickly. Okay.
no, you really when you
Is
say
it
really,
really,
really, it's really,
really,
really.
really?
Don't
I
matter.
said really, really, really.
That's what we're
Okay, I
gonna
said
do.
really, really.
We're
We
gonna
take a shot.
change
We
it.
take a shot. We take a shot.
See. Hold
So I
on.
took my
I
shot.
forgot. I came prepared. I got my travel because I ain't gonna get up and go to the bar.
Okay. I got you. I got you. So yeah. So listen. So everybody out there that's been following us and listening to us for a while, we're in the middle of rebranding to get this thing back out, and we need your help. We need your help trying to come up with a new show name. We need you guys' help to get this thing off so we can rebrand, man, and do this thing off right. So if you would, we're looking for new name ideas and show ideas. So if you would hit us up at the leogshow@gmail.com. If you see it on the bottom on the ticker, let us know what you think. And as an incentive, if you come up with a new name to help us rebrand, we will be featuring you on the show, and we have something special for you on the show. So like I said, we're going to be kicking this thing off here. Hopefully we'll get everything situated and done up here pretty relatively soon. But for all our fans, like I said, hit us up, email us on the leogshow@gmail.com, or you can also hit us up on our social media on the Twitter or the X or whatever you want to call it, or you can also hit us up on Facebook as well for new names, and we'll definitely shout you guys out, and we will definitely make sure we take care of you guys. We got something special lined up for the lucky fan that helps us rebrand the show. So fellas, we're gonna do it. We're gonna continue to do it, and we'll flip it when we flip it. So listen, let's get into the show tonight because we got a good one. Like I said, NFL draft. NFL draft just passed here on last week. We weren't able to get into it because obviously we got lives and we were all doing different things. Banks, you celebrated your birthday. I'm not gonna tell everybody how old you are. You want to let everybody know how your birthday weekend went, brother?
It went wonderful, fellas. I just turned 21 again for the 20th time, 22nd time, whatever. I'm gonna stay 21 till I say so. So, yeah, I mean that's how it is. The birthday was great, fellas. Man, I really appreciate you guys, everyone out there who wished me a happy birthday, including you two, and you guys make sure that we sent this thing off right with a shot, and I appreciate that so much. And
Absolutely.
yeah, yes sir, and I loved it,
That's what's up, man. Always, man. We definitely got to celebrate our people. And I'm sorry. So before we get any further, I forgot to do my drink check. So listen, I want to feature something before we get in a little further. Look at this. So I got something now. I don't know if I can see this here a little bit. This thing won't let me be great with the screen here. But listen, it's an Evan Williams single barrel vintage that I was able to pick up, man. Shout out to the plug, man. Derico, somebody sent you something too, I guess. I don't know. So you might be getting something coming pretty soon on that, man. Evan Williams single barrel. I have not cracked the seal on that. Actually, I'm drinking some Chris Stapleton Travelers tonight, but I just wanted to feature that some Evan Williams single barrel that I have not seen in a while, and I definitely picked it up. And apparently, somebody looked after you, Derrico, because you got a package on the way as well. So, shout out
Hey,
to
I
Plug.
appreciate that bird picking that up for me and delivering it that. Ain't nothing like curbside service.
Absolutely, man. You know how we do it. That's what's up. So listen, fellas, let's get into it, man. Let's get into this show. Let's do what we do, and let's talk about sports because that's what we love to talk about, man. So we're gonna talk about this NFL draft, like I just said. It happened on last week. Listen, a lot to talk about. So the NFL draft took place over April 26th through the 27th up in Motown. Man. Shout out Detroit. Shout out to all my people up there in Detroit, all over the place, man. Shout out to, I think I'm Big Mitch. I think I'm, Detroit, man. Stand up, man. Everybody, man, from Eminem, the Kid Rock. The draft took place up there, man. Over 775,000. I'm off of zero on my banner right there, fellas. But listen, it was a big event up there in Detroit. They did it big, man. Derrico, man, your thoughts on how they did it big for the draft up there in Detroit?
I ain't gonna do it. Yes, I like how the Big D put it down in Michigan with 770,000 folks.
Pause.
I mean, I'm just saying, it is Detroit. Like, what else they got to do? I'm just thinking. But no, congratulations to Detroit for being the highest number of people to attend draft weekend, and it's only going to get better. So I just appreciate that, and shout out to that Detroit. What up, though?
What up, though? All my people in Detroit, man, for real. If you haven't been to Detroit, man, it's a cool place to be, a cool spot, man. I've been up there a couple of times, man, and like you said, Derrico, man, they did it big up there, man. Everybody came out, man. Detroit, from an NFL standpoint, now has something to be proud of, man. I know it's kind of been shaky for a while. They've had some marquee players up there, man, but they was a game away from the Super Bowl, man. So Detroit, man, stand up, man. Lions fans. And the real Lions fans, I know they've been rocking with them hardcore, man. So I respect them. Banks, your feelings on the turnout in Detroit and Motown for the draft weekend.
Kudos to Detroit, D-Town. It was really good to see that all the fans up there, like, even not just Thursday, the first round, the next day, the second and third round, it was deep. All you saw was a sea of Honolulu blue. And it was something the league has probably, had to embrace the fact that each city they're going, next year is going to be in Green Bay. Kansas City previous year, it wasn't like this. It was pretty much an event, and it was for the whole entire city, and the league saw it firsthand, and it was a real good showing. I, for one, and I'm not trying to sound like I'm hating, but I would love to see this here in the A, just to see, my city on display. I know you're shaking your head, Derrico. I'm just saying, we need the same thing. I just feel like we could do the same thing. We could turn out, and we have fans down here too.
The only reason why I said that, Banks, is I think what they're doing is teams that can't host or not able to host the Super Bowl, they punting them the NFL draft. So that's why you've been seeing cold weather teams hosting the NFL draft, because they probably won't get a chance to host the Super Bowl.
Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense to give them, a share of the pot of the publicity. I get it. Okay, now that you explained that, we probably won't ever see it. So that's pretty cool.
I don't want to say never. I mean, it could happen. I mean, we just have to wait and see. But like Derrico said, trying to spread the love around, man.
But
Detroit. Go ahead.
Can you imagine? I didn't mean to cut you off, Leo, but can you imagine an NFL draft in Las Vegas or NFL draft in Miami? I mean, it would be a knockout. It'll be a freaking knockout. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you talk about.
I got some other words that it'll be too.
Well,
it'll be some other words.
And
by the way, just to let you know, Banks, we did have a draft in Vegas the draft the year before, if I'm not mistaken, fellas, was in Vegas. Am I right? They had it right at the Bellagio in front of the hotel. I want to say they had it in Vegas.
It was there, but I mean, if you're gonna put cities in rotation, you just gonna stay up north. Your Philadelphias and your Buffaloes and your Green Bays and your Detroits and Cincinnati's. That's all well and great. I mean, I know it's not their fault that they're in a northern, you know, atmosphere, but when it comes to Super Bowl, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, you can only go to so many places in the Super Bowl. They tried it in New York. I'm hearing back, it wasn't as cracked up as, because besides MetLife Stadium being brand new, it was miserable.
And being in Jersey.
So
that's not New York. That's not New York.
It's not in New York.
I'm pretty sure we won't see a Super Bowl in Lambeau Field. I mean, just not.
Well, from a number standpoint, I don't think the city of Green Bay, no disrespect to Green Bay, just the city of Green Bay is not big enough from a number standpoint. I mean, can't even the airport. I mean, logistically, it would be a nightmare. I mean, to get people. I mean, it could be done, obviously, but I mean, it's just the size of the city. I mean, Green Bay is the last of the old school cities that started, a century ago in football that still has a team. One of the places that I would love to watch a football game at, apparently the atmosphere is like none other up there. I've been to Buffalo to catch a football game. That's a city, cold weather, kind of intimate atmosphere where you got rabid fans. I think Green Bay is like that as well. So maybe they'll have a draft up there at Green Bay to throw them a bone, but it would be a logistics nightmare trying to do a Super Bowl up there at Green Bay. But, never say never. I don't know, man. But from a nostalgia standpoint, I don't think there's another city or stadium, fellas, in my opinion. I don't know if you guys disagree. Then Lambeau. Derico, would you think that that's probably one of the most nostalgic stadiums in all the NFL?
I mean, I guess I've never been there, so I can't say I felt it. You know what I'm saying? I went to Soldier Field and it was like, okay, they really need to just kick the legs from up under that stadium. When I went, that was like about 5 years ago. So I probably feel the same way about going to Green Bay because it's probably an overpopulated old college stadium. And I was just sitting here thinking, like, does Green Bay even have 775,000 people?
The city? No, I don't know. Hell no.
Yeah, so I'm like, we ain't gotta worry about them breaking that record next year because I don't think 600,000 fans gonna travel to Wisconsin to witness a draft when there's nothing else to do in Wisconsin besides eat some cheese.
I disagree. I think people will travel up there to see a draft. Depending where they're gonna put the stage. Are they putting the stage right there by the stadium? Well, let me back
got to. Ain't nothing else in that month.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, you have to put it by the stadium.
I didn't say they want to travel. I just said I don't think 600,000 people gonna come up there. They don't have the accommodation for 600,000 people. Well, they gonna sleep at the stadium?
Yeah, I have to bust out a make a big tent or something.
RVs and everything else. People make ways; they will be there, but I don't think it's going to top Detroit. You're probably right about that. When you talk about nostalgia of the Green Bay Lambeau Field, they still use bleachers. A bleacher. I'm not sitting upright for a whole entire game to see a football. I'm just not. I've been to Soldier Field. I'm kind of like you, Derico. It was like. Just a stadium. It's the Soldier Field. I mean, it didn't do nothing for me. I mean, it was just another stadium. I've been to a lot of stadiums around the league. That one didn't do nothing for me. And I can tell you the worst one I've been to is probably in Washington, D.C. That's a dump.
Oh, that's always going to be, everybody agree with you. That's some trash, straight trash. It's like they just put a piece of land out there and just said, we're going to build something. And when I say out there, in nowhere, that's how bad it is. It's just awful. God, awful. Man, it's just awful.
Listen, I think a lot of, I'm gonna just go ahead and say it, man. Some of us have, I don't know, including myself, have got, we so used to these bells and whistles, especially with Mercedes-Benz Stadium and how all the bells and whistles, everything that you want, and then some there. But I think you just for me, and just from a nostalgic standpoint, like I said, I was able to go to Buffalo a couple of years ago and check. There's nothing. The stadium in Orchard Park is nothing out there. Same thing, man. But like the atmosphere and just going to a stadium out there. I mean, going to a game out there in Buffalo is crazy. The Hawk gets into that stadium and does not leave. It's cold as hell. But once everybody gets in there and packs that thing in, man, it is a sight to see and something to behold, man. And I think that should be on everybody's bucket list, man, to check a game up there. And like I said, all of these stadiums are probably going to get upgraded here in the next 10 years. Jericho shaking his head. He ain't built for it no more, obviously. But
everybody ain't no Grizzly
like
Bear like you, so I ain't going up there.
Well, listen, man, it was something. I went up there to check it out, man, and it was cool. Like I said, I wouldn't mind going up to the Green Bay to Lambeau Field. A lot of people, talk about the nostalgia at Arrowhead or whatever the case may be. But yeah, there's a lot of different places that the NFL is at that we would like to check out. But with the draft, yeah, we never know. So they'll probably let us know here sometime soon where they're going to have the draft at next year, and that'll be pretty cool. So let's just get into it, fellas. Listen, we're going to talk about the Falcons. We'll talk about what they did. We'll talk about a couple of other teams and what they did as well. But let's talk about the Falcons and what they were able to do here. And I know we got a lot to say about it. So listen, the Falcons had 8 picks in this draft. And they drafted 5 defensive players, 3 offensive players. And before we get into it, Derek, I'm gonna bring it over to you here, man. The strategy going into the draft, in your opinion, what did you feel the main objective was that the Falcons needed to do going into this draft before we started talking about what they actually came away with the picks?
Defense. As always, the strategy for me is building up front on defense. So that was a strategy for me. So that's what I felt like that they were going to do. And if you said they had eight draft picks, right? And you said they had
Correct.
5 defense and 3 on offense. Okay.
Correct.
That's what they did. They leaned toward the defense, which is what they should have did, because in free agency, we know they went heavily on the offensive side of the ball. So, yeah, I think they did what the expectation was as far as the focus. And I'm going to let you answer the other question later.
Absolutely. So listen, my philosophy as a football fan and as somebody that played the game and is a pupil of the game is I've always had, defense is where my strategy lies. And I've always of the mindset of you build a defense. That's what you want. I mean, offense obviously puts butts in seats, but I'm still of the old school philosophy as defense builds and championships and brings championships home. And yes, it's been since this franchise has come into existence. I mean, you go back into the 80s, almost 40 years ago, was probably our most prolific defense. We talk about the Grits Blitz, the end of the 70s going into the early 80s, where we had just a dominated defense. Some will argue that the defense, in 1979, 1980 was you could probably put them in the top 5 or at least the top 10 of defenses in the history of the NFL. And we've always been chasing that ever since I've been able to watch and follow the game. So, yeah, I've been there, Derek, with you. I'm on the mindset of build this defense, man. Build a bully. My man Rex Ryan, shout out to him, a bully on defense, man, and let everything else fall into place. Banks, I'm going to pass it over to you, man. What was your outlook and what was your strategy as a fan looking at what the Falcons were going to do going into the draft before we get into some of these picks?
Well, Leo, as you know, I have a different set of how I feel about this draft. Not just the draft, but the whole offseason as a whole. I can't really give you a fair judgment of this draft because I feel like they didn't do enough. Yes, they addressed the D-line. The D-line needed some attention. And I think they neglected something else on the defense, and they trying to make it seem like it's okay and it's not. That is the secondary. Secondary is bare. People I've talked to about it, they was like, "Oh, we'd be okay." No, we're not going to be okay. Okay, we've been sitting here clamoring about somebody to help AJ Terrell, and we know that AJ Terrell, in my opinion, is he a shutdown corner? No, he's not. He's absolutely not. Absolutely not. He needs help, and we didn't address it. We didn't even look at it. But we got defensive line help. Kudos to that. I got my feelings about certain those picks, but I'm gonna let you run it, and I'm gonna hold my judgment until it's my time to say anything else about it. So, yeah.
And look, absolutely, man. You know, there were a lot of things to be addressed, and I think as fans, we have, you know, our own wish list in our head. And that doesn't always mirror what these organizations look at and what they take priority at. You know, we are fans and we watch from afar, but these organizations, they have totally different boards. We get caught up on mock drafts and we get caught up on a lot of the quote unquote analysts and experts and what they feel like these teams should do. And like you said, Banks, there are a lot of different holes that were needed to be filled, and as they should, but we went in different directions. So listen, I'm gonna just go ahead
Did you say holes or holes?
Have you heard it? That's what I said. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into these picks, and we'll discuss them here, and we'll start talking about the draft in the Atlanta Falcons. And we'll talk about some other draft picks by other players as well. Shout out to my man LG following us over there on Facebook Live, man. LG, that's what's up, man. Yes, sir. Talking about the draft here going on. So listen, first round at the number 8 pick. And we'll go into detail in this, so we don't have to really touch on it. I'm just go through the picks. First round, Michael Penix Jr., quarterback, number 8 out of Washington. The second pick that we took in the draft in round 2 was Root Oroho. I hope I pronounced that man's name right, from Clemson, a defensive tackle.
Let me help you. It's Rook
Orororo. Rook Orororo. I'm sorry. Rook Orororo. And, you know, he did a whole.
You put an H on it. It's Rook Orororo.
Rook Orororo. Rook Orororo. Okay.
Orororo.
Right. Sound like Scooby Doo. Listen, he gave a whole spiel about his name and the meaning. He's Nigerian. Shout out to our Nigerian brothers and sisters, man. He doing the big. Very excited. D tackle out of Clemson. Braylon Trice is the next pick, number 74, outside linebacker from Washington. The number 4 pick, we picked Brandon Dolores from Oregon. I hope I pronounced his name right. Dorius. Okay. Dorius. Brandon Dorius, defensive tackle out of Oregon. Number 5 pick, JT Bertrand from Alpharetta, inside linebacker from Notre Dame. Number 6, JD. What did I say?
You said JT is JD.
JD, okay. Lazy tongue. Number 6, Jason McKellen, running back from Alabama. I hope I pronounced his name right. Number 7, Casey Washington, wide receiver out of Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. And the number 8 pick from UGA, go Dogs, deep tackle Zion Logue with the last pick that the Falcons at number 197th in the 6th round. So listen, fellas, I know Banks, we discussed this draft in detail, and this was funny. So listen, Michael Penix. Let's talk about the first pick here that we took in this draft. Michael Penix Jr., quarterback out of Washington. Banks, I'm going to pass this over to you here to talk about this. And Derrico, obviously, me and Derrico, we'll talk about the number 1 pick as well. But Banks, Michael Penix Jr., talk us through the process of how you were watching this draft and you saw the Falcons take Michael Penix Jr. and your thoughts and your theory as to what's going on, or just whatever. Michael Penix Jr. is the pick at number 8.
Well, first and foremost, shout out LG. What's going on? I let you shout out to me. Well, how you doing, Leo Derico? Please let me have this floor for 1 second about Michael Penix Jr. I, for one, do not have no issue with Michael Penix Jr. I actually enjoyed watching him in Washington. He lit it up. He got it all the way to the natty. I enjoy watching the brother. I really do. My gripe is the fact that you went after Michael Penix Jr. and you got that other guy and you paid $180 million to. That's why I have my problem. When they drafted him, I was shocked. I was shocked. I was in a whole nother state, and people were clowning me because I had my gear on. I was in the bar. I was feeling good about the draft, and as soon as it happened, everybody just looked straight to me. I'm like, wow, like we did that. We actually did that. Now, I don't have an issue with the whole either you go with Cousins, fine. Fine, you want to win now. Oh, okay, you're gonna go with Penix. We want to win later. Okay, fine. But so one or the other, fellas, one or the other. What are we doing? You gonna go win now with Cousins? Or are you going to sit here and you're going to try to tell everybody, well, Penix is going to be there for 2 or 3 years, sitting there waiting his turn, and we're going to pick up where we left off. We, for one, don't even know if Cousins is going to be that dude. We assuming that. Everyone keep assuming that we're not going to pick 8 or top 10 next year. How do we know that? And then once we don't, then what? I guess that's well money spent, right? I feel like if you're going to go Michael Penix Jr., that should have been the plan from jump. Then take that money and build the rest of the team up. Then you could have got a veteran corner, or you could have got a veteran pass rush, or you could have addressed the offensive line that we have not talked about yet that we need in order for Penix or Cousins to flourish. You got to protect the pass rush. So I have a lot to say about this, and I don't know which direction we're going. I don't have no issue with Penix. I like him as a player, but if that was always the plan, we should have stuck with it and took our money elsewhere and built the team. That's all.
All right, Banks. With the Michael Penix Jr. pick. Listen, before I pass this over to you, Derico, because I know you might have something to say with this as well, and I want to present this to you, Derico. There are a lot of different things that are involved when you start talking about, taking players for a professional team, especially with the quarterback position, the biggest position in all of professional sports. Yeah, we did sign Kirk Cousins to a big deal to bring him in, one of the biggest free agents, and we talked about this previously. At the quarterback position here for this team. For the last 7 years, the Falcons have not made the playoffs. And with the exit of Matt Ryan, we have had a total debacle at the quarterback position. This is something that had to be addressed. Obviously, we just hired a new coach. This is very, very, very confusing for a lot of different people as to why this went down in the draft the way that it did with signing Kirk Cousins and bringing Michael Penix Jr. in. Derico, I'm going to pass this over to you. Can you make sense of this, or do you want to be the voice of reason to let fans know what may have went into the thought process of making this decision at number 8? Because like Banks just said, it's a little confusing. It's a little baffling. And on draft night, as fans, we were all kind of looking at the screen, a little perplexed. But Derico, do you want to be the voice of reason and try to tell us why this decision was made by the organization?
Well, I'm gonna say this, Leo. Not being a voice of reason, because one thing I know, when folks got their mind made up, is made up. Period. But what I will say is, if they've listened to our head coach and our GM explicitly explain the thought process and the vision of why they did what they did. Like, I don't want to regurgitate everything they said, but I will just hit on one thing. Like you said, this is a quarterback-driven league. They've been in predicaments where we've been having subpar quarterback play for the last 2 years. But everybody moaned and bitched about that. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes down to someone actually taking a stance and doing something out of the box, I think that's where folks get and don't understand the why. You know, if it was all about the why for me. Of course, yeah, when it first came out, yeah, it was like, hey, what just happened? Because I just knew that they were going to pick somebody, different. I already knew based on our conversations before that it wasn't going to be one of those defensive ends because I just felt like, and think y'all felt like, they just didn't deserve to be picked that high. Just out of this, I mean, it just wasn't. So as far as Penix is concerned, well, you couldn't have got him in the second round, so I'm going to stop that. Nope, he wouldn't have been there. Wouldn't have been there. So we're gonna stop that live. We're gonna debunk that myth. He was not going to be there in the second round, people. So yes, you took him. That's your guy. You believe in him. You get him. He's a franchise quarterback. Period. Franchise quarterbacks, as we know, are a dime a dozen. You can ask Marcus Mariota. You can ask Desmond Ritter. You can ask some other guys that was here in 2007, and they'll tell you that, hey, we needed a quarterback. Once we got Matt Ryan and he was here for those 13, 14 years, we at least had stability at the quarterback position. Did we win a lot? Maybe the first half of his term, but not in the second half. But at least you knew that you had a dependable quarterback on the center. That's the whole point. This whole, we paid Kirk Cousins. Well, yeah, we did. Did I like it? No, I didn't. Who else was out there? Nobody. So basically, you had to pay the guy that was out there. Why pay him and draft Penix? Penix is a rookie. Penix, people say, well, he's not going to sit back there. Well, he's not going to have a choice. What are you going to do? He going to bulldog his way into the starting lineup? Unless the coaches say you go in or something happened to Kirk Cousins, you're going to sit back at least a year. At least a year. Well, it's 90-minute guarantee. Yes, it is. But there's an out. 2 years. There's a 2-year contract. So we can see if something happens in year 2, fine. We'll see what happens. But all this what if, it's a lot of what ifs. I don't like what ifs because everything dealing with the draft is a crapshoot. Nothing is guaranteed.
Absolutely. I totally agree here. And Banks, before we give it back over to you, you draft players based upon the information that you have in front of you, and you build your board based upon, the players that you see improving this team, whether it's immediately or down the road. I mean, I'm not a GM, I'm a fan. And just, to echo what you said, Derek, the quarterback position is one of the most scrutinized positions in all of sports. And after Matt Ryan left, there was no plan in place. Obviously, not to go into detail and talk about what happened, obviously with the Falcons trying to bring another quarterback from another team in. But, Matt Ryan left, obviously, and we've been in quote unquote quarterback purgatory ever since. And I think with our owner and the coach and the GM in place, there was a conversation that was had once Raheem Morris was hired as to how this quarterback position was going to be addressed. And obviously, there needed to be a solid plan. And part of it is, hey, we want to be successful now, and we want to be successful for the future. And I think that there's no secret that Michael Penix was very, very high on their draft board. There was rumors that obviously Caleb Williams was number 1, and then obviously Michael Penix was number 2 on their draft board. And they thought very, very highly of him, and they wanted to take him. As for the Kirk Cousins signing, Derek Cole, I agree. You had to do what was best for this franchise now because you didn't know what was going to happen in the draft. Draft night, you didn't know what was going to happen. There were rumors that obviously Chicago, New England, and Washington, when you talked to them about possibly the trading up, they told you no. The only team that was willing to will and deal with you apparently was Arizona, and they told you would have to wait until draft night when they were on the clock. The Falcons were not in a position to say, hey, we can't do that and miss our opportunity on. So they said, you know what? When free agency started, let's go ahead and get Kirk Cousins. And when the draft comes around, now this could be a stroke of brilliance, or it can end up backfiring. We just won't know. These are some of the things that we're going to have to let this play out. None of us are clairvoyant. None of us can see the future. this is something, the beauty of sports and what we do, we're just going to have to see how this obviously plays out. But one thing, fellas, and before I bring it over to you, Banks, because I want to talk about something else with Michael Penix Jr., is that Terry Fontenot, our GM, was in a similar position here a couple of years ago, back in 2017. Terry Fontenot came over from the New Orleans Saints, where they had an aging quarterback at that time down there. The quarterback was Drew Brees. And they were looking for a succession plan and trying to find somebody to be the heir apparent to him once he left. And there were a lot of talk about different quarterbacks in that draft. I'm not for sure who all was coming out. But there was one particular quarterback that Sean Payton said stood out to him and they wanted to definitely take. And, they tried to keep it quiet in the room and they wanted to take this guy. And I think that they were in position and poised to take him because nobody else really was talking about him. But all of a sudden, Kansas City Chiefs take a guy by the name of Patrick Mahomes at pick 10 in 2017. And at that time, the Kansas City Chiefs, they had a starting quarterback. They had somebody in Alex Smith that they thought was going to be, somebody that could help them immediately and take them where they needed to be, but they knew that they needed to have a successor as well. Kansas City jumped them. The rumor has it that somebody was texting in the draft room that night in New Orleans, got him, and now we see what happened with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs and what they were able to do. Terry Fontenot seeing that and having eyes on that, and being a part of that situation, I felt like played a major role into the conversations that were had about that position and what we needed to do moving forward. Banks, with all that being said, do you think it's a fair assessment that doubling down is something that the Falcons felt like they had to do with the quarterback position?
You could have doubled down with any quarterback in that situation. You didn't have to get Cousins. Okay, you could have got, I hate to say it, but you could have got Sam Darnold. I know people want to say we need to win now, we need to do this, we need to win the division. The division is weak. Okay, can we agree that Michael Penix Jr. is ready to play right now, Leo? I mean, can you agree that he's ready to play right now?
Absolutely.
Okay, Jericho.
Hold on. I'll give it a second. Everybody that comes into the National Football League it should be ready to play now. They should be ready to play now. But go ahead.
Jericho, do you feel like he's ready to play right now? Right now. Michael Penix Jr.
Probably.
Okay. So you went and you got I hate to be this guy, but you got Kirk Cousins, who was a loser in Washington. He was a loser in Minnesota. He's, my thing is he's not a guy who I say he's going to get you all the way to the Super Bowl. I do not see it. He's just a guy. And I think like they're paying the $180 million, even if it's front loaded, you did it just to win a division that was weak. I can't fathom that was the only option you had. You had other quarterbacks out there. You could have got if you wanted a bridge, a quarterback for Michael Penix. Obviously, Michael Penix was your man because you flew the whole entire freaking front office up to Seattle to see this man. So if this was who you wanted, if this is who you wanted, I don't care about winning this division just to say we won a division. What, just to get bounced out the next round? I don't care about that. That doesn't do nothing for me.
Well, if you're going to
spend $180 million, you're basically telling me this man is giving me a chance to play for that trophy. Not to say we won a division.
Let me say this, Bank. You keep saying that he's a loser. I'll be more inclined to agree with you.
He's 1-4 in playoffs.
Oh, that hear me out. I would be more inclined if you would have said he doesn't have a good playoff record, and then instead of saying the man is a loser. Okay, we've been losing. We are losers. So we're not in a position to sit here and clap our cheeks and turn our nose up to somebody or somebody's when this franchise has more losing record than winning records. Once upon a time, we never won back-to-back winning seasons.
That was just
So
not too
for
long
us,
ago.
hold on, for us to all of a sudden have this aura about ourselves that our stuff don't stink or that we don't need something is just beyond me. You say that this is a weak division. If it was such a weak division, we still couldn't win it the last 2 or 3 years or 4 or 5, 6, 7 years. We couldn't win it. You know why we couldn't win? Because the last 2 years we didn't have a quarterback. You know why we didn't have a quarterback? Because there was no plan other than Matt Ryan. So I see an organization saying I learned from a mistake and I want to autocorrect it and make sure that that doesn't happen on my watch. And I'm going to give them the latitude and the grace to make it work or watch it fail. But what I won't do is say that it's going to fail. I'm going to hope that it works because that's my football team and I want it to work. I don't want to be right. I'd rather be wrong.
And the strategy is this: do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. Not just winning the division, but going as far as you can. I mean, Banks, you know, you're entitled to your opinion about Kirk Cousins and calling him a loser. I mean, the man is an NFL quarterback and probably a top 10 NFL quarterback in this market right now. Yeah, his playoffs record does not speak very highly. Yeah, 1-4 in the playoffs. But I mean, there have been a lot of quarterbacks that have taken years to, do things. But make no mistake about it, he's better than what we've had here. And in my opinion, as a free agent quarterback, he put us in the best position right now to do something. Like Derek Cole said, we are not a franchise that can turn down any help. If that means spending $180 million to bring in somebody that can help us right now, so be it. I mean, we need to win right now. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Like Derek Cole said, we were wrong, we were wrong. We need all of the help that we can get. I don't have time to wait a decade to figure this out. Do whatever you can to do right now. Let me just give you a little something before I give it back over to you here, Banks. The Washington Commanders have had 7 different quarterbacks starting over the last 7 years, and all of them have been mediocre or I hate to call any NFL player trash, but they haven't done anything. They've been trying to figure out their quarterback position, and they just drafted another young man to try to get that situation figured out. So if the powers that be said, hey, we're going to spend $180 million to bring in somebody that we know can win games and possibly take us over the hump, then so be it. And if we get into the draft and we see our future standing right there in front of us, then hey, we'll do that and we'll go ahead and let the chips fall where they're made. This could be a genius move or it could fail horribly. But like Derrico said, which I highly agree with, is this organization learned from a mistake. You can't say that they didn't learn from a mistake because they doubled down. They brought in somebody that can do something now, and they brought in somebody else. Not only, check this out. Michael Penix Jr. and his people were in agreement with the Falcons that if he was drafted, that he had no problem with being a part of the process and seeing where it was going to go. This was not something where like the Falcons said, oh, we're going to just do this because. There have been a lot of people coming out of Michael Penix Jr. camp that said we were willing to work with the Falcons to see where this was going to go. Banks, the pick at number 8, obviously you weren't a fan of. Where did you want the Falcons to go at the number 8 pick if they hadn't drafted Michael Penix?
Any defensive player. Any defensive player. I don't know if you guys realize that, yes, the defense did pretty well last season. Credit to the defensive coordinator, Nelson, I don't know where he went from here, but he's no longer here. Your top 2 sack leaders are no longer here. That's in Campbell and Dupree. Bud Dupree. I don't know. Oh, you lost Okuda as well. I don't know where we're going. You drafted defensive line help again. That's great, but you didn't address the fact that we lost players. We lost a coordinator. I don't know what we're doing with this new coordinator in Lake. I don't know anything about this man. We don't know if he's going to be. We just hoping he is at this point. I would like to know where the replacements are. All those guys we lost. Because if we not going to replenish that and we're just going to go by hope, fellas, we can be a high scoring offense that's trying to win a division, but yet we giving up the same amount of points on the next possession. I don't want to go through that again. That's not fun. It's not fun to sit there and watch your team score and you just giving it right back to them. We've been doing that for too long now, way too long.
So are you saying, Banks, that since the draft is over, that there's nothing we can do as far as transactions?
What
Because
else
that's what
we
it sounds
gonna
like to me.
do? What are we gonna do, Derek
I
Cole?
mean,
what money do we have?
You still can make moves, Banks. I know
How?
you know
Tell
this.
me how.
I know you know this.
No.
I know
Tell
you
me
know
how.
this.
I'm not talking
How
about
what?
getting some Joe Blow off the street just to say we filled the
We're
hole
not
like
talking
they've
about
been
Joe
doing.
Blows. You still can do in-season trades. The deadline is not until
In season
the
trades. Are
6 or
we gonna
7
actually
win.
okay? In
You
season
you don't
trades.
know. We don't know. That's
But
the thing.
can you
Everything that you're
can you
saying,
sit there
everything that
and
you're saying is
can you
conjecture.
can you sit there admit and say that we need to do this?
No,
No,
So
you can't
no,
say that. You
no, I
can't say
can't.
that we don't need anything. You can't say right now we
No,
don't
I
need another
can't.
corner. You
No, I
don't?
can't say that. I
Who's
can't say
gonna
that.
play that position? Who is playing
Who is
Akuda's
on the
listen.
position
roster?
right now?
So listen.
Who is on the
On the
roster?
roster right now. So
Who?
listen,
There's
fellas.
no one
Who's on the roster?
there.
So
Who is on the
so
roster,
Banks.
Banks?
We got
So
Nichols and AJ Terrell. That's it. Who
so
you
let
think's
so let
gonna
me slide.
come up?
So let me slide in here real quick, fellas, and just to hit a point here. You are right, Banks. The two people that led the team in sacks last year are no longer with us, Calais Campbell and Bud Dupree. But let me tell you something. We had a guy that we drafted a couple of years ago in Arnold Ebiketie that was the number 3 person on this team that turned over and made good strides. Had another defensive end by the name of Zach Harrison that looked very, very good and made good strides. We have a guy coming back off an ACL injury by the name of Grady Jarrett. Do I need to remind you how good he is, even though he's getting older, but this guy is still a force to be reckoned with in the NFL. David Onyemata. We have a lot of quality players that were here still on this team that can make efforts on this defense. And this is a whole new regime. So let's not start to compare what happened last year to what Jimmy Lake and Raheem Morris are going to do with the personnel that we have right now. Once again, we can't see the future. We don't know. These guys could be doing things on a totally different level than what we saw last year. Shout out to Ryan Nelson, who went down to Jacksonville, who was able to get the most out of the talent that we had. But once again, we still have NFL caliber talent on the team. Yeah, we don't have the war daddies that some of these other teams have. But like I said, I think Arnold Ebiketie made some strides. That Harrison made some strides. Obviously, we'll get a couple of people back that were injured last year. We do have some people in the secondary that made some strides. Obviously, Malone, obviously D'Angelo Malone. But yeah, so we did get some. So let's get into some of the other picks here that we did pick up to help this defense out, because the Michael Penix Jr. pick was obviously one of the most controversial picks. And we can go back and forth, but we can talk about this again at a later date, because this is something that's gonna be talked about for the next several years and where we go with this organization. So listen, Banks, Derrico here before. Go ahead, Derrico.
Just to be honest with you, we really don't even care about these other folks right now. I mean, this right here is the topic. Nobody's talking about Trice. Nobody's talking about Doyless. Nobody's talking about JD. Nobody's talking about McClellan. Nobody's talking about Casey Washington. Nobody's talking about Zayon. Everybody's talking about Michael Penix Jr. So if we want to address what the people want to hear, let's talk about Michael Penix Jr.
Well, before I give it back over to Banks, I think he made it ever so clear that we don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with Michael Penix Jr. the fact of the matter is that was this a spoil of riches or was this a dumb decision? I'm going to say my piece about this. I love Michael Penix Jr. I love him as a player and what we saw. Yes, he's longer in the tooth. Yes, he's coming off a bunch of different injuries. But when I looked at all the quarterbacks that were drafted ahead of him, like you said, Banks, nobody is more ready to step into the NFL role than Michael Penix Jr. And as an insurance policy for the 36-year-old quarterback, regardless of how much we paid Kirk Cousins, he's going to be the starting quarterback. But the biggest insurance policy that we have is a Michael Penix Jr. This guy has an arm like no other. He can spin the ball. He's a great athlete, in my opinion. And I think that he's going to be here and make us successful for years to come. So, yes, the Michael Penix Jr. pick is going to be a make or break for, of course, obviously, Raheem Morris and Terry Fontenot. But for me personally, this is a double-down insurance policy that I feel as though we couldn't miss on. That's just my personal opinion. And yes, all of the sitting for 2 years or 3 years or whatever. Yeah, I get it, people. I get it. But I would rather have a good quarterback starting for us and the best backup quarterback in the league than to have a mediocre quarterback starting for us and an unproven guy behind him. I mean, that's just my logic, and that's just how I see it. But that's just me. Banks, I don't know if you want to put your spin on how you feel about Michael Penix in this situation, but that's where I'm coming from.
Listen, guys, I don't have a problem with Michael Penix Jr. I think my issue comes with the money and what we could have done with it. And I felt like we could have filled a lot of holes besides the defense. Like I said, we're not even talking about the offensive line. We're acting like the offensive line is straight, and we know good and well it's not. Okay. We know that we have a statue back there throwing the ball, and that right side of that offensive line is weak. I mean, yeah, we are the best offensive line in the league if we're gonna run the ball every play. But if we're trying to drop back and pass, we're gonna have some issues, fellas, and we have not taken care of it. That's my issue. And yet we're sitting here trying to justify why we paid Kirk Cousins the money where we could have used this money in other avenues and other places on this team. If it wasn't even Dog, if it wasn't even a all-pro player, it could have been someone decent enough. That's what we got already. Okay. I'm
Man,
not trying to call out different players on the team, but that right
call
side
them
of the
out. They
line,
don't know you.
Call him out.
McGarity, look, I don't want him on my
That's
team.
that's the only
Listen,
person on that offensive line that you can talk about.
I want a center. I don't want Dolman hiking the ball to Penix or Cousins. A different left tackle. I want a predecessor to Matthews. Like I want this offensive line that we have to be upgraded. Okay,
You know what you
we
better do?
cannot keep.
You better go get you about $3.2 billion. You know what
Well, guess
$3.2
what? We had
billion
it.
might get you?
We had it.
No, you
We had it.
3
We
billion.
had
I said billion. I said you better go get you about
What?
$3.2 billion so that
What?
you can go buy you an NFL team so you can run it like you
Jericho.
want to run it, man.
Jericho, listen here, bruh. The whole thing, what I'm saying is that you know good and damn well that it's you putting all your eggs in one basket on one quarterback. Just because I hear you, Leo. I hear you, Jericho. Yeah, we was deficient in the quarterback position. I get it. I totally get it. But I know I can see past that one position. Fellas, we wasn't a quarterback away for anything, okay? We're just not. I
We
don't know
won
who
7
came up with
games the
that
last
crap.
3 years the last 2 years with shitty quarterback play.
Okay,
So you
that was a
telling me
weak-ass
you
division
telling me
with a
are you telling
weak-ass
me that we
schedule.
couldn't have got 4 or 5 more wins
Schedule.
with a
Guess
quarterback?
what?
Are
Newsflash,
you
brother.
serious?
We got to play the real teams now this coming season. We ain't playing your Tennessee Titans this year. We ain't playing your Jacksonville Jaguars this year. We ain't playing your Arizona Cardinals this year.
Let
You
me
know who
ask
we
you this though,
playing?
Banks.
Hold up, Leo. We playing Kansas City. We playing the Eagles. We
NFL
playing the
team,
Chargers. We playing
an
real
NFL team,
teams this year. We playing
another
the
NFL
Steelers.
team.
Guess what?
They play in
Okay.
the NFL. They
Guess
get
what? They
paid
better
too.
than us. They better than us right now.
So you
They
say?
better than us right now. I tell you what, you're gonna see a Dallas Cowboy or
Hold
Kansas
on,
City team come
Jericho.
up here. You
Jericho,
think they're
hold
gonna
on
say
one
we're
second.
gonna just take it easy
Hold
on
on one
you?
second, Jericho. Derek, hold on one
So
second.
riddle me
Banks,
this. So what do you like
wait,
about this team, Banks?
hold
I
on.
want them
Derek,
to
1
upgrade.
second.
It's not about like liking the team, Jericho. I'm just saying you're gonna sit there and you're gonna put your eggs in one basket and one quarterback and neglect everything else. Like we okay? We're not okay.
Okay, hold on, wait, Derek, hold on, wait 1 second.
When we
Banks,
sitting
I
there
want to ask you
freaking
this
at
question.
3 and 4, and
I
then
want
it's just
to
like,
ask you.
okay, wish we could have put that money in somebody else.
So, Banks, I want to ask you this question. Let me ask you this question since you brought that to our attention. Dallas, the Steelers, you know, our division tell me what makes all of those teams that you mentioned so much better than us going into this season. I want to
I
know
don't know,
because you said that
Leo. I mean, they've been winning.
You made
We've been
hold on,
7-10 for the past 3 years, Leo. Well, I don't know. You tell me. And this
There's
is
only
go
one
beyond.
team. Hold on,
And this is beyond just quarterback
There's
play.
only
Let me
one
tell you
team that
something.
we
We
play. Hold
lost
on,
to a
wait.
guy.
I'm gonna let you finish. There's one team on our schedule that won the Super Bowl, but I want you to tell me what makes all the other teams on that schedule better than us. Tell me.
Winning regular season games, Leo. You know what we've been doing besides going 7-10? We'll lose to a team that just started a quarterback the freaking first day he got off the bus. We'll do that. We'll lose to another team who ain't played since the previous year in Arizona. We will do that. It wasn't just quarterback play. Hell, we can't stop nobody when we need to stop. Now you tell me those teams I just named, you think they're gonna come in and just take it easy on us? I don't know. You still ain't told me what's our answer in the cornerback position. You think Patrick Mahomes just gonna take a chill pill? I'm just gonna run the ball. I don't want to embarrass these guys. What you think they gonna do? And what you think we're gonna do to them? I mean, we basically
You don't know what they're gonna do to them. That's the point. You don't know. You think you know, but you don't know. It's like you hoping
we were going to actually do something with a team like the Arizona Cardinals and the Minnesota Vikings, and we didn't.
You talking about after? You talking about last? You still on last year?
It don't matter.
You don't know what this team gonna do.
I can go year before last.
You don't know what this team is gonna do, Banks. You don't know what this team is gonna do.
You think this season right here is going to change?
You don't know what this team is going to do.
Let me ask you this.
You know, no. I'm not gonna let y'all do that. Let me tell you something.
No, I'm saying
for the past years has been going on. Is nothing changed? Nothing has changed. But you're gonna sit there and tell me that this is a new year, and all of a sudden we're just gonna get our shit together. All of a sudden,
we're asking you. I think the point that's trying to be made is let's be real, and I'm gonna say something that's real. Let's not let our PTSD cloud the future, okay? And I think that's what Derico is trying to say, and I'm definitely going to say this. We don't know, okay? Your past judgments of what this team has done in the past cannot cloud what's going on in the future. And in your opinion, if they hadn't addressed what they needed to be successful moving forward, that is your opinion. That is your opinion. I take every year for what it's worth. I take every day for what it's worth. I'm not going to let my PTSD or my emotions about what happened in the past dictate about what they're going to do in the future. Now, Banks, you can take it however you want to take it, and you can feel however you want to feel. And yes, we lost some games to some crappy teams last year, but that does not dictate what we do this year. What you do today does not dictate what you do tomorrow. If you want to say you have a problem with the organization and what they've done in the past, then say that. But you can't say that that's going to dictate what they do in the future. You can't. You cannot definitively say that. You know, you can't. We don't have a crystal ball. We're not clairvoyant. I mean, at least I'm not. Derico, maybe you can tell me what the numbers are going to be tonight so I can hit this Powerball. But let's be honest. We cannot let the past actions of this organization and team dictate what they do in the future. Yes, as fans, we get upset and we get pissed off about some of the decisions that are made. But what we cannot do is say the past actions of what they did 4, 5, 6 years ago are going to dictate what they do 10 years from now. We can't. So, Banks, you can miss me with that. I'm sorry. I love you, brother. But we cannot let what they've done in the past dictate what they do in the future. I'm gonna move forward here for a second here, fellas, before we close this thing out. Derrico, I'm gonna hand this over to you. Derrico, did you have something to say?
No, sir. I put it in the chat.
So listen, before we close this thing out, I want to talk about a couple of different things here. With the draft as a whole and where we are moving forward with this organization. Going into this season with a new coaching staff, with everything that we just said, Banks, and I'm gonna hand this over to you. What are your expectations, and how do you feel we are going to be able to be successful moving forward into? And if we're not, you feel like we're not going to be successful, then so be it. But what are the keys to us being successful with the draft and with what we were able to accomplish in free agency? How are we going to make this into a successful organization and going into this season?
Be honest with you, fellas, I don't have no expectations. I don't know what we're going to do. To me, the draft picks that we got, that's what they are. They're rookies. I don't have no expectation for none of those guys we drafted on the defensive line. We're not going to see Penix for another 2 or 3 years, so no expectations there. So I don't have anything from this season when we're talking about 2024. I just don't have any. I don't know what direction we're going. I think we're trying to get better. I see that part, but I think I'm looking past the quarterback position. I'm looking at as a whole team, and I don't think we did enough. And I'm just being honest, fellas. I don't see it. I'm just going to be even keel here.
Derrico, same question to you, man. With all the acquisitions and everything that we've done in this offseason, do you see us moving forward, and how do you see they can put this together and make us successful in the immediate future here, talking about this season specifically? I'm sorry.
I'm going to say it like this. I believe in Coach Ra. I believe that he has a plan. I believe, just listening to him, that he understands that he has to win now. And my expectation is playoffs, period.
Absolutely. That's what you got to do. You got to make it to the dance. Shout out to my man Wes, man, for holding us down, man, and checking out the show. Yeah, you got to get into the playoffs. The first step is getting into the playoffs. And I think that they have made a conscious decision of bringing Kirk Cousins in, bringing the other people that they brought in to do that. I mean, a lot of people, the division is weak. Okay, well, like Derrico, you said, we should have been winning this division the last couple of years. I think with the acquisition of Kirk Cousins, that will give us a chance to get into the dance and to get into the playoffs. That is my expectation, to get into the playoffs. After that, then so be it. You got to see the forest for the trees. You got to get to a certain place first. The playoffs is where we want to be. Winning the division will get us into the playoffs, and then let the chips fall where they may. Oh, well, Detroit is better than us. Oh, well, San Francisco is better than us. Well, let's get into the playoffs and let them prove it, because these other teams have to prove it too. They have to prove it too. I don't care what their record says. I don't care who's on their team. We lace them up, fellas, for a reason. These guys lace the cleats up and put the pads on for a reason. Get to the playoffs and let's see how this rolls out. And Ra and Terry, we trust right now, and that's how I see it, and that's how I feel. Get to the playoffs, and I have an expectation with Kirk to make it to the playoffs. And my double down insurance is that Michael Penix will be there in case of an emergency to do what he needs to do, because he is, in my opinion, ready to take that role as an NFL quarterback. And that's why the Falcons organization held him in such high regard and look at him as the quarterback for the field. So, yeah, he's 24. But whenever he gets on the field, and for however long he's going to be here, I feel like this man is going to bring success to this organization. I feel that in my old bones, Derrico. I feel it. With that being said, fellas, we'll try to wrap this thing up. We'll come back and talk about the draft picks, the other draft picks, obviously, in our next episode that we did get to talk about, and how they're going to be able to help this team out. But with Michael Penix, I feel like we're going to be all right. Banks, I'm going to give it over to you here to give a closing statement about just your feelings in general about how this is going to be moving forward for you and how you're going to take a look at this team.
Well, I'm just going to sit here and going to twirl my thumbs and see what we're going to do from here on out between the first kickoff of week 1. Are we going to stand pat on this defense? Or are we going to sit there and actually try to do something? I may feel a little better if we do get a corner. I may feel better if we get an offensive line help. I just may. But until then, man, I mean, it's just whatever. I mean, you do what you do. You know, get into the win this division. I guess that's the goal. Yeah.
Wow, boy. Derek Cole, pass it over to you, man, and let's close this thing out.
Well, in order to get in the playoffs, the quickest way to get there is to win the division. I'm done.
We're going to win it. We're going to do it. We're going to do this thing, man. Listen, this has been another edition of the Leo G Show, man. So listen, everybody, we are in the midst of rebranding this thing, man. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, if you have the time, send us an email, let us know. Give us a name for the show. Give us also your thoughts and opinion on the show. We are open to everything that you got, our fans and our listeners and our followers, man. We love it. If you're watching right now on YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, man. We do this for you all. And we are first and foremost fans, man. We love all our Atlanta teams, man. So we speak this, Derek Cole Banks and myself, from a fan's perspective. So we do this strictly from that perspective. So as you can see on the ticker, man, hit us up, the leogshow@gmail.com, as we rebrand this thing, man. And let us know, man, hey, give us a name for the show. And you could be a special guest on the show and receive a very, very, very nice gift from Mr. Derek Cole, because he's already said that he has. No, I won't go into that. But yeah, so yeah, give us your thoughts about, rebranding the show, man, and we'll definitely look forward to having you on the show. And if you want to be a part of the show, just send us an email or hit us up on social media, or hit us up personally, man, if you want to come on and discuss Atlanta sports with us, on this platform, man. Derek Cole, I'm gonna give it over to you, man. Let everybody know where they can find you at, obviously, and
what you do. You can see where I'm at on Twitter. You can catch me on Facebook at Stacey D Derek Cole. You can catch me on IG at Derek Cole_Virgo, and you can catch me on Snap at DJ Cairo6, and right here, baby, in the man cave.
In the man cave. Banks, let everybody know where they can catch you at, man.
Currently, I'm still at Facebook, Antoine Jarrell Banks. You can hit me up there. I'm not sure what's going on with my X profile or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, but also Baby Banks 80 at Instagram, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from you guys.
That's what's up, man. You can always catch the show. You can see it on the scroll down there. You can catch me on my personal X, Twitter account, whatever you want to call it these days, at Southern Set. That's with 2 T's. You can also catch the show at the Leo G Show, #1. Also, once again, our email address is the leogshow@gmail.com. We're trying to rebrand this thing. Let us know. Give us a name. Like I said, if you hit it on the mark, we'll bring you on and we'll give you definitely a nice gift as an incentive for helping us out on the rebrand, man. And we're going to come back to you guys hopefully within the next week or so here, bring you some more perspective on this draft class and talk about the Falcons moving forward. Also, we'll bring you some Atlanta United talk, as like I said, tomorrow as we record this show, we hopefully all of us will be in the building at NBS to check out Atlanta United. So we'll bring you some Atlanta United talk, and we'll talk some early on talk about the Atlanta Braves. We talk about Atlanta sports. That's what we do. So on the next episode, you never know what we're going to talk about, man. But this episode, we obviously wanted to dedicate that to the NFL draft. This has been another edition of the Leo G Show with Banks and Derek Cole. Fellas, we're going to be out.